I imagine education is a part of that. That is something the Prime Minister did say also as a focus in 2023. Education and addressing those gaping holes in education,
Yes.
particularly in the public education system, and addressing those to be able to not have as many people or students falling through the cracks. Cassius, I'll start with you. How you mentioned about reaching individual citizens. Well, the individual youth, the individual student, those who are graduating that are unemployable, that has been exacerbated over the last, say, decade.
Yeah. See, in business, we have something called benchmark. And benchmarking in business is what we call copying. In other words, if the speakers have a company, a Fortune 500 company, and his systems are working, another company will call it benchmarking by borrowing his principles. We need to look at some of the private school systems like Queens College and St. Anne's, those who are producing responsible citizens and good citizens, and benchmark into the public system those policies and principles that works. And so obviously something is wrong between we have what we call a gap between the public and the private school systems in the Bahamas, because the private schools are producing some good students. Now, mind you, the private schools are producing some, but a lot of them are filtering through the cracks. How do we fix that? It's just borrowing from the private system into the public system so that we could fix the gaps. Social promotion cannot be a thing in this day and age. We cannot graduate people just because we want to push them out of the system. I think also too. We've evolved to the place where I talk about benchmarking. We've benchmarked a lot of the principles from the United States school system, where discipline is more removed away, where there's no more
Corporal punishment.
Corporal punishment for students, and all of those things. Anyone who perhaps in our generation could attest to the fact that we got disciplined in school. And even though we didn't like the discipline, we could attest to the fact that it made us who we are today. And when you fast forward on to today's generation, where it's almost illegal to touch a student or to discipline them, it shows that these people have no way of straightening out their lives. And so kids come to the schools with their bad habits, with their I guess pre-programmed attitude from their environment and homes. And then the teachers can't do anything because they cannot enforce the rules or cannot enforce discipline. And I think we have to relook at that and say, listen, if we don't enforce discipline within our schools, we will lose another generation. And I don't care whether the Americans will be upset, whether or not the human rights or whoever people would be upset, let them be upset, because they got hell to deal with in the American school system. We don't want our school system to go down the same road that the American school system is going down the road, where people figure they have no discipline. They could come to the school with any kind of weapons and shoot up the school. We don't want that in the Bahamas.
No.
And so we got to insist that we have discipline within our school. Now, our preamble says that, self-discipline is one of the tenets of our country. And so we have to implement and insist that self-discipline, but also discipline, is implemented in our school system. Now, I know the children ain't gonna like that, but nobody likes discipline. But guess what? Discipline is necessary if you want to create a sensible generation.
But you're so right. It is. Discipline has worked up to now, eh?